Alex, as you know, in order to make ourselves feel better about becoming old and lame and rapidly approaching death, our favorite topic these days is to make fun of Gen Z.
Oh, yes.
And they are certainly not a group of people that are lacking in topics to pick on them for. And this is a topic that's been going on for a while. Like, I've got an article from 2022, an article from 2024, and a video from a week ago, all talking about the same topic.
Poppin' fresh.
Which is that Gen Z,
What do they know?
Our successors, are not drinking the same way that millennials and Gen X and boomers did. So this is from 2022, why Gen Zers are growing up sober curious. I think this is, in theory, not just about alcohol. Oh, Gen Zers are taking it slow as they enter adulthood, either by not drinking at all or drinking less often and less quantity than older generations. This is about the UK.
Okay.
And then, at the end of last year, here's another article. Death of the Big Night Out. The kids aren't going out to clubs. They aren't going out to bars. They're staying in and not drinking. Once again, not drinking.
Not drinking.
And then you sent me last week this video from everyone's favorite YouTube channel, The Food Theorists. And they have 5.5 million subscribers. I don't really know who these... Is this the Game Theorist guy?
I don't know. I just saw this. It was one of those random suggestion videos.
The icon looks like it, where it's like, but that's just a theory, a game theory. I thought he retired, though. Anyway. This video that we watched a little bit of together starts talking about mocktails and being very health conscious.
Yeah, there's a definite health conscious spin on it.
Oh, here's why. Yeah, like you said, Tom Holland is launching a second career living alcohol free.
Okay, so he's going to be 8 years old. Well, he's still 8 years old. Yeah, the mocktail. A lot of this had to do something with their basically their health consciousness and outlook on it. Although they did mention there, though, a lot of them tend to drink. It doesn't seem like it's like alcohol in the form of beer. It seems a lot of that tends to be something like the malt beverage, like that Mike's Hard Lemonade or the Topo Chico Hard Seltzer. A lot of those like alcoholic seltzers that have gotten super popular in the past 10 years. It seems to be if they are drinking something, they're going for that.
They're drinking these pre-canned drinks, like alcoholic kombucha, which is just hilarious to me. That it continues this, well, the kombucha, but all of this in general. It continues this trend of Gen Z just being kind of, like they don't want it. We don't want our alcohol to taste like alcohol group. So it's like,
but we still want it in some
when
form.
We were in school, high schoolers, college freshmen were drinking the hard lemonade because it was the gateway transition to beer and hard liquor.
Yeah.
But by the time if you're like over the age of 25 drinking this, especially the Mikes, the hard seltzers, whatever, it's like every girl between the ages of 25 and 30, well, 25 and 100 is drinking hard seltzers now.
Yeah.
But it's like it's like ordering a Jack and Coke as an adult male. It's sort of like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
There's better options for you. You sound like you're 18.
Yeah. I remember when I was in college, it was pretty much beer. A lot of girls, both of them were having like beer. Guys would usually have maybe like some sort of hard liquor with some sort of mixer, like Sprite
Coke.
or Coke. Yeah. The girls also would then have the Mike's Hard Lemonade, but then there was a lot of like the Smirnoff Ice type of malted beverages and stuff.
Yep.
And that kind of had its heyday and then slowly eventually just kind of went passe now, where it's all the shelf space in a liquor store that used to be taken up by that is now just completely filled top to bottom by just the seltzers and stuff. They did also say that I don't know what country it was, maybe US or something like that, but they were saying with the current generation, because they've kind of switched away from drinking beer, that while beer sales by volume has decreased, their revenue has increased, and most of that's kind of offset by the fact that the cost for materials, for ingredients, has actually gone up. So another thing of this is that non-alcoholic beverages have also become very popular in the past several years. Beer being one of them.
That's just so strange to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, because they were showing, these like the Asahi Zero non-alcoholic beer, Beero, that's just hilarious. But like, it's just so such a strange. Like, why are you drinking that? I don't get it.
Yeah,
it's so foreign. It's like, well, why aren't you just drinking soda pop or just like sparkling water at that point?
Right.
Like,
and I think at this point, where a lot of them, in terms of like the health consciousness, where they didn't want the carbs associated with that, when a lot of these beers now, they've become like, close to zero carbs and stuff, when you're taking basically all the carbs out of the beer and you're taking out all the alcohol practically of these beers, and you're left with like, I don't know, I think that Budweiser Zero says it's got like 50 calories or something like that or whatever.
Yep.
You're just
0.0% alcohol.
What is this that I'm technically drinking? Like, is this even considered beer at this point? Is it just like carbonated water with like a yeasty, malty flavoring to it and stuff?
Yeast water. I mean, they don't say beer on them. They say non-alcohol, full flavored, zero alcohol.
Something or other.
Non-alcohol brew contains less than 0.5% alcohol. Nothing says beer.
Yeah, because I think they legally cannot define that as beer.
Right.
But it's funny too. Yeah, go ahead.
It reminds me of people that say like, "Oh, I drink Liquid Death because I feel like I'm drinking a beer."
Mm-hmm.
What? I don't understand that either.
Yeah, what was it?
Like, people I know that I respect have tried to make that argument to me, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're drinking a can of water.
Yeah.
How does it feel like
water.
You're drinking? It's not like you're tricking anybody standing outside with everyone else is having a beer and you're having sparkling water. No one's like, oh, I want to try that new beer, Liquid Death.
And it's, what was it? I saw Liquid Death now has a root beer flavor, which I'm thinking like, so it's just root beer minus like the fructose corn syrup, I guess.
Were we at H Mart? Is that where you saw that?
This was at Casey's. It was at a Casey's.
I was with you.
Okay, maybe it was
I was literally standing next to you when we went to get the pizza.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know if I pointed it out to you, but
you did.
Okay. Oh, okay. Mystery solved, guys. Great job, Scooby team. But what's funny too is like I remember like when I was younger, like my parents would sometimes get just like lemon or lime flavored 2 liters of seltzer water because they weren't too big into pop or something. Like we used to drink like 50-50 in Diet Right in my household. We
weren't above that. I forgot about 50-50.
Yeah. They would sometimes get that, and I would drink it, and I was a husky kid in the 90s and stuff, going like, I need my sugar water, So I thought that like just carbonated water was yucky, and I was never a fan of like Perrier or anything, similar to that mineral water stuff. And now they're kind of just drinking it, being like, if they didn't have any of this, like, I guess marketing or flavoring or whatever behind it, and they just drink like straight up like seltzer water, would they be turned off by it or anything like that? Or is it just because if it's put in a can with a fancy packaging, they're like, okay.
Well, I mean, like LaCroix became popular, which was I didn't realize that LaCroix was initially just a kind of Midwest thing, like an Illinois, Wisconsin thing.
Drunk by a bunch of middle-aged women in an office wearing kids.
I mean, I drank LaCroix when I was a kid. We would get the Shut up, Alex.
My kids have got Spider-Man on them.
We would get LaCroix in lieu of soda pop occasionally. Like,
but there was no fanfare behind it.
There was no fanfare. It was just like, here's soda. It's just soda water with flavoring in it. And I think it was just like lemon, lime, and I don't know, strawberry or something that was with the flavors.
Some sort of berry of some sort.
Yeah, there was, or maybe it was just berry flavored, let's say. And then in like, I feel like the early 2010s, it like exploded into everybody wanted LaCroix,
and they had like 24 flavors.
Right? Yeah, and it's just like you got like coconut flavor now and pamplemousse.
Pamplemousse.
Just call it grapefruit.
Yeah, well, that's not what it says on the can.
I know. They try to zhoosh it up.
Pamplemousse.
But it is interesting also about how the younger people are not going out to drink, which is also causing a lot of, like, I guess, like the nightlife bar culture scene. Especially in England, which is the home of the pubs. I mean, England, Ireland, the entire UK has got like, all the pubs and the drinking culture and stuff like that. That's usually what you kind of see and stuff. But
look at this. In the UK, nightlife experts warn we're losing one club every 2 days. And if we stay on this trajectory, we will have none left by 2030. That's not that far off.
It's 5 years away.
Yeah. That's one high school grit generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to say, as you know, Alex, I moved from the city to the suburbs, and going out is not really a thing in this area anymore. But when I was in Chicago, Chicago proper, after 2020, after COVID, nightlife died on its own.
Yeah.
For me, like the bars stopped closing at late. They started closing at midnight, which was when I'm a party animal. I roll up to the bar at midnight. We're going till 5 a.m.
Balls full of bub.
But seriously, midnight was when I went to the bar. Now they're closing at midnight, so that which was part of my decision to leave the city, was that I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, the appeal of the late night nightlife was dead for
COVID killed it in a lot of ways in Chicago. I can't speak for any other city, but there's a noticeable pre-COVID nightlife, post-COVID nightlife. And there are still 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. bars in Chicago, but not like there used to be. And it's like, for me, on one hand, I'm over 40 and probably shouldn't be at the bar till 4 o'clock in the morning anymore. But if the fucking Zoomers aren't going and it's all just millennials who are there, then realistically, I'm going to go. I would be perfectly fit in there.
Yeah. But when the Zoomers are definitely not going because it's part of their own, scene and stuff like that, their culture of not doing it. And the millennials have kind of gotten to the point where they're like, I don't really feel like going because it's not the same atmosphere. Friends of mine that I used to hang out and meet up with, they're not interested in going anymore because there's a cost factor. There's they got jobs and they can't really be just doing this on a weeknight or even wanting to do it on a weekend and stuff like that. A lot of it also, like you were saying, like a lot of bars that used to be that, they've closed since. And it's like, if you used to have a place that you would go to regularly and that happened to have closed, then you got to find a brand new place. You got to get acclimated to the atmosphere, the clientele. You're going all over the city to find something, and it gets to a point where you don't want to.
Right. This guy's talking about before the pandemic, students would come during the middle of the week, but now they're having house parties to save money while they grapple with soaring rents and food prices. So, and what was this, 2022? Is this the 2022 article? This is the end of, beginning of last year article, 2024. So a year ago, same complaints, same issues. Gen Z appears to be the most sober one yet.
Kind of reminds me, do you remember like back in the day, there was that one bar in, where was it? Zero Gravity. I kind of feel like this would be like a juice bar, where it's like, I feel like this would, like the current atmosphere would be rife for some place like a zero gravity where you have just like an alcohol-free like dance club where you can still go out and socialize and stuff, which it sounds like not a lot of bars are trying, or people who run bars are trying to get into that like segment, because it seems like most of the people are just wanting to like come over to somebody's house, chill there, and, you know, just drink, you know, liquid death and stuff like that.
Well, oh my God, this place sounds like a nightmare. Wasn't zero gravity like 18 to enter, 21 to drink? Or
something 16 like that. 16 to enter, yeah.
That is a nightmare scenario of 21-year-olds dancing with 16-year-olds. Oh, look at this guy. Like, how old is that girl? How old is this girl? How old are any of this girl? Looks like she's like 16.
We're going to jail.
I'm going to jail.
No,
well,
seriously.
I wouldn't be surprised if you'd see dudes roll in there that were like in their late 20s, early 30s, just head to toe in axe with what were those stupid shirts? Ed Hardy shirts.
I think Ed Hardy might have been after this.
Oh, wow.
Okay, to be clear, Alex and I think we're both too lame and I think too young to go to this.
At the time or now?
No, at the time. Like, were our classmates going to this?
I know one guy
Did
from
he have
high
a penis
school.
Piercing?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It was the guy that tried to spin on his head in class one time. Trying to do some breakdancing crap.
Break his neck.
Yeah. We're just like, you need to stop that.
So it looks like Zero Gravity didn't shut down until 2016.
God bless him. Wow. That's impressive.
If you grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, you're probably painfully aware of Zero Gravity. Oh, geez. Sorry. In a move that ought to bring a smile to the face of every discerning suburban father, the club announced that it will close for good later this month. Chicagoland's #1 young adult dance club.
Oh, well.
Okay, so 2016 was when they closed down. When were they? Well, when was this video published? 13 years ago. Okay, so we were just too lame.
Yeah,
we were never too young. We were just too lame to go to this.
Forever young, I want to be forever. Well, also, I think a lot of people, like we were talking about, like changing lifestyles too. Like my wife and I, we were just kind of like at a point where we didn't want to go out and hang out with people. Even on the weekends, everybody was starting to do their own stuff. You know, it just, we don't really want to hang out in bars, and it's time to close up your tab, and you're just like, Jesus. It's like, where did we go to? It's like, do we go to like a steakhouse or something? It's like, I'm just getting a bunch of beers, and it's like, oh, they're all craft beers. It's like, it's like, why are you charging $4.50 for like a Bud Light in a bar? It's just like, geez.
Oh, geez, $4.50. Do you realize that there are cocktail bars in Chicago where it's $25 for an old fashioned? And I think 17 is probably the average based on, from what I can tell. 15 to 17 is an average cocktail price.
Silence.
Jesus wept.
The Bud Light is $4.50.
I love that stuff. Been drinking it for years. You know, I heard they recently decided to add more hops to it.
But again, how old are these girls?
What a time capsule. I would say probably 17, 18.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think 16, 17.
Maybe officer.
Maybe officer. Well, how old is that girl? She looks like she's 12.
She's going to have her own TLC show. Some of these clothes. Oh, there we go. There's Chachi. Yep. Mm-hmm. That dude.
Okay, I'm just saying this
Wait,
guy.
is that a pogue? One of those creatures from Last Jedi?
Oh.
The pogue. It looks like a pogue, like it's the double head.
I thought you were talking about like pogs.
Pogs. I don't know.
No. I mean like pog.
Oh.
Pog.
Oh. Mm.
I'm just saying, like, this guy is partying at the same club as like well, these
Deer in the headlights.
is this girl.
Oh no, I don't want to think that.
But isn't that?
Yeah.
He's like,
Look at his chin's just like this jawline.
yeah.
I mean, my jawline's pretty much on par with my waistline. So, rest in peace, Zero Gravity.
1995.
That honestly, that's a pretty good run for a place like that.
For a place like that.
I mean, because like, how long was Excalibur in business in Chicago?
I don't know. I did go to Excalibur also.
How was that experience?
I learned the difference between clubs and bars at Excalibur because I was probably sophomore or junior in college and didn't know what I was doing. And I knew what things looked like in movies. And so I was like, okay, that looks like a place. So I went in and realized, oh no, there are places where you just sit and drink, and there's not like music blaring. It doesn't look like this.
You don't have to socialize with people. Oh, that's a classic B96. Nice.
That's where I learned to drink at Wabash Tap. I learned about Wabash Tap while drinking at Excalibur.
I wonder if there's probably a lot of like post 18-year-olds that went to this place just for like the atmosphere.
Went to hang out at Zero Gravity?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it couldn't just be like 16 through 18-year-olds. It must have been like some older kids, I suppose.
Some of the best days in my life, especially the foam parties.
I remember hearing about the foam parties, yeah.
Yeah, you and I were sitting at home on our computers.
Did you hear about the thing called the foam party?
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
So are there any drinks that if you're out with people, an adult man orders the drink, are there any cocktails or any drinks that you would get you would raise an eyebrow over and be like, it's this guy's deal?
Maybe a martini?
Too pretentious?
Yeah, I think it would be dependent upon the setting. Like, I would be very surprised if we went to like a chain restaurant and somebody's just like, "Oh yeah, can I have a martini?"
At Chili's?
Well, like an Applebee's, because like, or like
an Apple.
like
I'm sorry. How could I say Chili's when I know you only eat at Applebee's?
Applebee's chili, like, because you've got like some of these chain restaurants, like they have a pretty nice bar section and stuff, and you'd be like, oh, I'm going to like a steakhouse, I'm going to have a martini with my steak. And I always associate martinis more with like maybe just cocktails by themselves or with like maybe Italian food or something like that. It's kind of a hard...
I think whiskey goes better with steak. But like I could see, I don't know, if you're just going out to not specifically getting steak, maybe, I don't know. But I wouldn't, if it was sitting down for dinner, I wouldn't worry about somebody getting a martini. But yeah, I think a martini we certainly would never order that at like a dive bar.
Right, yeah.
Even if it's just basically vodka or gin.
Yeah.
It still is a little...
Like, if you were to ask them if you were like, hey, can you put it into like a styrofoam cup with a lid? That would be great. that would be perfectly acceptable and stuff.
Yeah, I would get more unsettled by the well, okay, so this is I am just kind of a contradiction because I wouldn't raise an eyebrow if somebody said, could I have like a whiskey and ginger ale? Like that wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
But somebody ordering whiskey and like Jack and Coke, and it's just because it was so ubiquitous when we were like 21 years old.
Definitely, yeah.
So it's sort of, to me, it seems immature. And it's just because of that connotation where it was like everyone who was 21, 22 ordered a Jack and Coke or rum and Coke or something like that. So while it's irrational, I still make that association with you're still a kid. You gotta grow up a little bit.
I feel like back in school, like the Jack and Coke or the Jack and Diet was was overwhelmingly ordered by women.
Yeah.
At bars. There was probably like a guy or two that would sometimes get it just because it's a cheap, cheap drink, well alcohol, stuff like that. I'd be the vodka Red Bull guy.
Oh God!
myself.
See, that's okay. I would judge on that too if I heard that, because once again, that's
Well, our
like
friendship
a college.
has prevailed over these years.
No, I just mean that because it is that again screams college student drink or 21-year-old drink
Or Jaeger bombs. Was it Irish Car Bomb was another one?
I've only had one time.
Was it Three Wise Men was another one I remember.
What's that one?
It was like, what was it? Jack Daniels. It was like brand name one. Three Wise Men drink. Three Wise Men shot. It was a half ounce of Johnny Walker, a half ounce of Jack Daniels, and a half ounce of Jim Beam.
I'm surprised to see Johnny Walker being thrown in there.
I'm
you got
guessing
a
it was probably
whiskey?
like your cheap Johnny Walker.
Well, yeah,
they
the
might
red-
have substituted
still
it with
Red
something
Label's-
else.
Red Label's still pretty,
Yeah,
Anyway.
I think usually it would be for like a special occasion. I remember that was always thrown out for. They're like, "Hey, let's do Three Wise Men," and it was usually
it
like
was-
for somebody's birthday or something.
because it was more expensive.
Yeah.
Because of
Yeah. So if a guy over here is like, "Hey, Jaeger bomb," like if I saw a guy ordering like a vodka Red Bull or something, I'd be like, "Hey, I'd like to get the guy a second one on me and get me one too, because we're gonna have a party tonight." And then I'd be like, "Okay, are we playing tic tac toe?" Yeah, with my kids' menu where you got the crayons and doing tic tac toe. I'd be like, "Hey, Jaeger,
Well, good luck, everybody.
I
hope
miss those
everybody-
years."
I hope everybody. Wait, when you were getting drunk while you were doing your kids' tic tac toe.
Mommy, Daddy smells again. It's okay. Daddy smells like medicine.
Gin and tonic, please. Belay that order, Dana. Lagavulin neat. Clear alcohols are for rich women on diets.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, if you want to drink, you don't want to drink. You want to drink a drink for babies. You want to drink a manly whiskey. Do what you think is right, and don't worry about what two idiots on the internet think about you.